Hey,
Hey.
I don't have a rant for this episode. What you get to rant about? Nothing?
I don't think so.
Well, since this one's not going to come out until like way in the future, I guess I could rant about Black Adam. So at this point, this will come out over 2 weeks from now, like officially, after I've already edited it. So I went to go see Black Adam opening day, or the day after the opening day. And the movie was good. It was 90% action and cool action scenes. A little bit of story, like character development. So it was fun. But what I really want to talk about is, something that everyone will already know at this point, I would assume, if you care about this stuff like I do. But Henry Cavill's back.
Superman.
I straight up had cold chills. Every hair in my body was standing up in the theaters. Like I don't want to ruin the scene
Was
for
it
anybody.
packed?
Huh?
Was it packed?
No, I went to matinee. I went at 12:40 whenever I went to go see it. It was probably halfway filled or whatever. I would assume the later ones probably a lot more crowded. But yeah, I'm very happy he's back. I'm hoping this means Man of Steel 2, which from what I've seen here and there on the internet, I don't know if it's confirmed, but Man of Steel 2 is in development as far as I know. Let me tell you, I always liked Superman as far as comic books go, but as far as movies go, it's never on board. I know a lot of people love Superman movies, the older ones, 1, 2, and I think 3 is the one that everyone hates. Never a fan. Did not like him that much. Didn't hold my attention. Was not interesting. But when Man of Steel came out, when I saw that movie, it was hands down my favorite superhero movie.
Yep.
I'll say my favorite DC movie, and that included the Batmans that had came out to that point. So we're talking, I liked it more than The Dark Knight. So I love Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah.
But Man of Steel, there was just something about the way that they captured Superman in a serious tone. The way that the color spectrum in that movie was just amazing. I love the story that they told. It was the perfect semi-origin story for Superman. And at that point, I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan now. But at that point, I'd never, to my recollection, seen anything that he had ever been in. Had no idea who this guy was. And I told you this today. When I saw the first interview and he had his British accent, I was like, what? He's British? Had no idea, at all.
Probably sounds really stupid, but it kind of makes me want to go back and watch Smallville.
I did.
I loved Smallville.
Now, I knew going into Smallville that came out in the early 2000s, I think. So I knew that going into Smallville that they were going to take major liberties with it, just because I think it's close to 10 seasons long or something like that. So they did some things that were not comic book accurate, but I went into it knowing that they were going to do that. But this has been a long time ago, but I did know somebody that had the box set of every season of Smallville and went through and watched all of them until I had no episodes left.
I had it.
Now I will say, looking back in retrospect, the Arrowverse stuff, with the Flash, Green Arrow, and all that stuff is probably better done, obviously. My favorite Arrowverse series is probably the Flash. Grant Gustin is awesome. But yeah, Smallville was a lot of fun. I wonder how it holds up.
Did you ever watch Roswell?
No, but I've heard about it.
It was interesting.
I think probably heard about it from you.
Watched bits and pieces. I kind of want to go back and watch that too.
I'm a sucker for CW shows. So, like, my all-time favorite CW show is Supernatural. I love that show. Every single episode, I could binge watch. Like, my whole thing was whenever a new season would be coming out weekly, I would wait till it hit Netflix and just binge it until it was gone. And then I would go through a bit of like a bout of mild depression after I'd finished the season. It's like, what do I do with my time now? Because my whole life would be consumed with the newest season that hit Netflix of Supernatural. And then it's kind of like finishing like an amazing game back in the day where like, now what do I do? Because like back in the day, you didn't have like, you know, digital gaming where you could just download another one. You'd have to like go to the store and buy one. And, you know, by that standard, I'm a child, so I don't have a job. So it's, you know, hey, Mom, can you spend $50 on another video game?
Robbie and I used to rent a lot of games at Blockbuster.
Yep.
That was our thing growing up.
But I would only have those games for the weekends. Never quite enough time.
Yeah, we never. It is what it is.
But yeah.
I miss stuff like that.
Yeah, I did too. I kind of like... Because like we've been watching House of the Dragon, and it's coming out weekly. I kind of miss the anticipation of having to like wait for the next episode, you know? Like streaming and binging, that's great. And like... But it seems like you have like a tinge of guilt after like binging through like a
then
series.
It's gone, and you have to wait another year or two. Like we're on the season finale of House of the Dragon tomorrow, and then we have to wait till like 2024.
There's like something about that though, like the anticipation of the new episode coming out or the new season starting.
So it doesn't suck
because
even
like
they're in season 8.
You can like watch an episode of the show that comes out weekly. Like, oh my God. And then you have all these talking points with like your friends and people at work that watch it. And you're like, ooh, what if this happens? What if that happens? This and that. Like you don't really have that when you binge watch outside of, I wonder what they're going to do with the next season. Because like at that point, like when you talk about shows like that you can just binge watch the whole season
like
in like a day.
Things.
Yeah, like Stranger Things. They can drastically change and alter what they're going to do in the next season. They like don't have to have that many connections behind continuing the story. But whenever it's like an episodic weekly based release, it's like one through line that you're following until the end of the season. But yeah, Henry's back. Very happy. Rant complete. Welcome to Anime Autopsy. This is episode 39. We are still on Psychopaths, season 1. This is going to be part 4 of our series of season 1. I am Romeo Stone. That is Peachly. That's your cue.
Hello.
There it is. Housekeeping note, subscribe to the YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Click that bell for all the live streams. You'll be notified when we go live or upload new videos. All of the news updates. You're going to want to follow me on Twitter or follow us in the Facebook group. Take a second to leave a 5-star review on Spotify or whatever platform you are listening to us on. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Autopsy. All these links are going to be in the Linktree link in the bio part of the episode. So you can click on that and get to anywhere you need to get to. And additionally, you can leave us a voicemail or an email. All the information is below. And our logo is made by Blue Room Media. You can reach out to them, ask for Brandon for all of your art inquiries. Tell them that we sent you. We're going to get into Psychopaths, episode 16. So the show is really, at this point of my first viewings, really has like grabbed me. I'm invested. I'm here all the way, 100%. So we're going to start seeing some stuff within the next 7 episodes that are just like, whoa. Like, I know you're you haven't finished 21 or 22 episodes, the episode 21, 22. But, I mean, just from 16 to 20, it's just like, jeez. Like, all the poop is hitting all the fans.
All of them. Just
All.
spraying poo-poo everywhere. It's a poo-poo shower.
Yeah. Episode 16, The Gates of Judgment. That's like a good metal band name right there. Akane, Kogami, and Shuzi?
It's Kagure, right?
Oh, that makes more sense. I was like, who is that? Akane, Kogami, and Kaguri trap Makishima in the Nona Tower, resulting in... Jesus Christ, I'm going to start over. Why are these words so hard? Akane, Kogami, and Kaguri trap Makishima in the tower, resulting in a battle that tests Akane's control over her emotions. So a lot's happening. And I don't exactly agree with how they split the three of them up, you know? Especially, and we'll get to it, but I just want to briefly mention the fact that they're bringing her up with Kogami, right? She's got a good hue. So, by the science of how they're able to like avoid the hue thing, they're going to be able to use her hue to mimic a good one so that he can't fire the Dominator at, you know, the henchmen that are there. Like, Shogo's different because he's got just naturally a good hue and it's not cloudy at all. But like making her go with him to catch the dude alive is like, that didn't make any sense. I would have told her to stay at the door and guard the downstairs door.
I didn't think about it till later.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you would think Kagami would have already been like, nah, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you would think as smart as she is. But then again, book smart. Street dumb. But as Akane, Kogami, and Kaguri enter the tower, Makishima intends to act as a diversion at the top of the tower while, I can never remember how to pronounce the hacker guy's name, Gusung reaches the core of the civil system in the hidden basement. Kogami and Akane decide to chase after Makishima to the top of the tower as Kaguri descends to the basement. I feel like that's the same thing, just in a different sentence form.
Is.
After descending to the hidden basement, Kaguri has lost connection with the network and discovers the truth behind the civil system. Now we see a white flash, so we don't exactly know what he sees so far, but we will get to it. Meanwhile, Kogami engages in a battle with Makishima. Makishima beats Kogami, but is knocked out by Akane. She hit the hell out of him.
She whacked him.
Yeah, and like the noise
with
they
a
use.
Helmet, nonetheless.
Yeah, the noise they use. It sounds so gruesome. I thought she killed him.
Cracked his skull open. Some brain swelling, internal bleeding, you know.
Like I thought right there they were gonna like she was gonna accidentally murder him, and then they were gonna like make her a criminal or whatever. So Kogami instructs Akane to kill Makishima, but Akane was able to control her emotions.
Loser.
God, I feel like there's a few, like we could probably count up to 5 times where she could have just like nipped this issue in the bud, but
then it wouldn't be this show.
I know.
Like, it's like saying if Kagome went to feudal Japan with a gun. It'd be over in like 4 episodes.
She'd be a goddess, you know? Meanwhile, Kagri defeats the guards and confronts Gusung at the heart of the Sybil system, who is suddenly killed by HH Boss Lady, who is revealed to be a cyborg, and proceeds to override her Dominator to fire at Kagri.
Which is weird.
So I don't know what the hacker guy shot at her, but it was like it melted her skin to where it was like a total Terminator looking scene where like half of the face was like melted off and you could see her cybernetic skeleton and stuff. But at that point I was like, as soon as that happened, I was like, what? And they're not showing anything that they were looking at either. So like that's all blurred out.
Nothing related to Sybil at all.
Yeah. So at this point we just think that, oh my god, their boss is a robot, and like that's messed up. But she's able to kind of hack her Dominator, and she kills the hacker dude, but then she hacks her Dominator and it appears to kill Kagri. Do you want to give description a shot? Episode 17, Iron Guts. After Makishima is arrested and the riots are controlled, Kogumi's interest turns to how Makishima will be judged, as well as Kagri's whereabouts. So like the description said, Makishima is taken in. Kogumi wonders how Makishima will be judged, as well as the whereabouts of Kagri. So, the boss lady really twists this stuff up to where she's placing blame on other people and making people like basically telling other like bossy pants that you should feel grateful that I'm giving you the chance to make up for your mistakes, when it's like the audience knows it's her. It's the Sybil system. So later that day, Boss Lady tells Bossy Pants that Makishima's case has been taken out of his team's hands and orders him to investigate Kaguri's whereabouts, knowing damn well that she killed Kaguri. Later,
Lion
Makishima.
Skank. Sorry.
Good.
It's a lion skank.
Yeah. Later, Makishima is confronted by HH Bossy Lady, who reveals herself as Kazuboro and shares a cybernetic body with HH Boss Lady. So there's like this big spiel where he explains to Makishima about the true nature of the Sybil system, which is revealed to be a supercomputer network composed of human brains of criminally asymptomatic individuals like him. So just like how he can control his hue and it never gets clouded no matter what horrific thing that he does, there's like the way she explains it is that, there's going to be flaws in any system, and the flaws that they have is that every now and then it's very few and far in between, but they come across people like him that they can't judge properly, and he has like a good hue, and he's like murdering people. So they take those people, take their brains, and then put it into the system so they can like better evaluate society or whatever. Yeah, that's like the big bomb drop right there. We get to finally see what Kaguri and the hacker dude was looking at and taking videos of, was what the Sybil system actually is. Because to the public just thinks that it's a computer that makes all these decisions, and that they're okay with it because it's not somebody, like a body of people, controlling what the government does or does not do. So like that's its big selling point. So like if the public were to know the truth, there would be an uproar. And like Makishima and the hacker guy, they knew that there was some type of secret, but they didn't know that was it. So this is the first time that Makishima's even like hearing of the truth. So Boss Lady offers Makishima to become a part of this system, but he refuses and instead kills her and escapes from the transit, which is supposed to take him to the Ministry of Welfare. He's got a book in his hands. And the way he initiates the fight is she goes to like grab the Dominator and he chunks that book right into her nose. I laughed so hard downstairs while I was doing cardio. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing cardio and then that scene happens. I was like, Jesus!
And then proceeds to beat her face in with like a computer monitor or some shit.
Yeah, and like breaks her arm, like where the elbow joint is,
Her
backwards,
legs.
and the leg. I was like, this guy is bulletproof. And if I didn't know any better, he probably got caught on purpose so that he could get like into this position somehow. Like, great scene. Loved it. But before the crash landing, he does contact Kogami about his escape. Basically, what he was doing was kind of trying to pique his interest because they were going to find out that he got away in general, but he's just kind of like agging Kogami on.
With him.
Yeah.
Like, you thought you got me, but you didn't.
Yeah. And that's part of the fun for him. Like, he wants
The chase.
Kogami to act upon free will, not upon orders from the civil system. So he's basically doing what he's been doing with all these other freakazoids and enabling them to act upon free will. So in like a twisted way, he's just like another one of his, like we said, toys. Episode 18, Promises Written in Water. These titles are killing it this week. When Head Honcho Boss Lady takes Kogami off the Makishima case, Kogami suspects there is something more to it than just routine. So this episode begins where let's just get into it. As Bossy Pants discovers that he is unauthorized to investigate the crash site of Makishima's carrier, Boss Lady reassigns him on recapturing Makishima and requests that Kogami should be taken off the case. But when this scene opens up, we see the crash landing, we see our team getting there and wanting to investigate. The robots say, "No, Bossy Pants, your team is forbidden to
You're
come
not
here."
authorized.
And then a car pulls up and none other than Bossy Lady gets out. If we remember from that last episode, she went down in that carrier all broken to shambles from Makishima.
They would have seen that.
Yeah, so they would have come across her body and then put two and two together when they see her body come out of that car and talk to them that, wait, she's not human, something's up.
You got a twin sister?
Yeah. But Kogami suspects that something is amiss behind the whole order, believing there is something Boss Lady is hiding from them. Just like we said. He's so smart.
We passed the 2nd grade.
So agreeing with him, Bossy Pants arranges for Kogami to be transferred to Division 2, who are in charge of investigating Kaguri's whereabouts. Now, this was a big moment for Bossy Pants for me. This is totally out of his character this far in this series. So when he did this, I was like, whoa.
I gained a little respect for him.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, that did not see that coming. But even he's like in a position where it's like, I've kind of agreed with you. Like something's up. So let's try this. And they come up with a plan. They get caught though.
And it makes me so mad. They get so close every time. Here she comes. Here she comes.
I always think that I almost thought that was part of the plan. And maybe it was, but I don't think Bossy Pants was involved to that part of the plan of getting caught. I think Kogami thought that he was going to get caught, obviously. And I think that he had a plan that went outside the borders of getting swapped over and snuck out so that he could, do what Bossy Pants agreed to do as far as the plan goes. I do think Kogami got caught on purpose because there's a point where we're going to get to where Tomami and him have a conversation where Tomami basically helps him in this venture that we're about to talk about. So we could talk about that here in a second. But yeah, confronted whenever he's about to do the swapperoo with the other team, Boss Lady and a bunch of robots come out and confront them and basically catch them in the act. But Boss Lady tries to get Bossy Pants to kill Kogami, but luckily Akane knocks him out with a paralyzer mode before anything can happen. Now at this point, I was screaming at the TV going, she's a robot, because she knocks him out and the way that she talks is almost robotic. I was like, wait, but I guess,
I'm surprised nobody had anything to say about her being able to change that Dominator. Not a single person in that room said anything about Boss Lady being able to change that Dominator.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
All she said, all Akane said was, oh, it seems your gun's defective. You should probably get that checked out. But nobody's like, hey, she just changed that gun just by touching him.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, not a single one
That
of
is
them.
true. Maybe they're operating on the assumption that she's got special privileges with it, but still it should operate off with the Sybil system. I didn't even think about that,
it's
actually.
like nobody put two together that, oh, hey. Yeah.
But upon awakening, Kogami borrows one of the helmets and retrieves keys to a safe house from, what's his name now?
Daddy Chill Pants.
Daddy Chill Pants. So this is the part where I think there was a big overall plan that some people were in on and other people were only let in on up to a certain point. But before leaving, he leaves a letter for Akane explaining the only way he can stop Makishima is to step outside of the law. This song. What is this? Beats of Rage, whatever that is. Episode 19, Transparent Shadows. Bossy Pants, whose hue is now a problem, refuses therapy so he can retrieve Kogami and Makishima, who intends to attack Japan's food supply. So we've started to get into this part of the story where Bossy Pants has started to have issues with his hue, and we keep getting these little short scenes where he's talking to a therapist, basically, where every time he visits this guy and talks to him, his hue's just a little bit worse. And at this point, it's for sure they're not gonna turn him into an enforcer. But we'll see. So Bossy Pants, whose hue is now problematic, avoids intensive therapy in order to work on retrieving Kogami and Makishima. So we're starting to see him kind of follow the same trend as not only Kogami, but Mr. Chill Pants. Is that his name?
Daddy Chill Pants.
Daddy Chill Pants. And we're starting to get a few more scenes here and there of them together. Mm-hmm. And I like it. I like this part of the show. He argues with his dad over his quote-unquote softness and declares his intention to see his obsession through to the end. So he's basically saying, to the hell with it. Now, this is stuff that he complained to Kogami about, like, why didn't you do something to, recover your hue? It's your fault that it got cloudy. It's your fault, blah, 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 this and that. This is why you're a dog now. You're less than a human. And then he's doing the same things,
Putting himself right in the same predicament.
Yeah. Kogami, meanwhile, goes to visit his old professor in order to figure out Makishima's next move. Now, this is the same professor that has the ability to talk to somebody and basically augment their hue. The two surmise that Makishima might attempt to meddle with Japan's food supply in order to force open borders for the country. So this scene was interesting. So, like, basically what they did, like people have like Reddit now, and it's like a forum that you can post stuff on and people can comment on it or whatever. It's basically like the futuristic version of that, where he made a post saying, like, if you were gonna overthrow the government, how would you do it? And then people were like posting like how they would do it. And he's like, how do I pick which one that Makishima would do? It's like, I would just pick the one that is probably you find funny, because that's the one he would probably go after, which is basically ruining the food supply, because at this point Japan is completely self-sufficient. They have their borders closed to every other country now. They don't import anything at all, especially food. So, like, if they ruin the self-sufficiency of Japan, they would have to open up their borders, therefore losing control of their complete chokehold on their country.
Which I do find it interesting that the professor brings up 2 or 3 times that Makishima and Kogami are similar in some ways.
Yeah. So it's like you're asking, what's the next move? Like, what would your next move be? Follow that. You have an interesting thing that you think's gonna come out. What is that?
That they might be related.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally see it happening.
In some way, shape, or form, because we don't really know much about either of the two of them.
Yeah, we don't know much about family heritage at all between those two characters. So it's totally possible. So Boss Lady connects with Sybil to determine their new quote-unquote pawn. Later, Akane is contacted by the Sybil system itself, declaring that it will tell her the truth about everything. And that's where we end this episode. So I guess that's their way of saying that the new pawn is going to be Akane.
I mean, she would be the perfect candidate.
She's kind of dumb. Episode 20, Where Justice is Found. Akane contacts the Sybil system and asks it to withdraw the execution order for Kogami if she accomplishes its request to capture Makishima alive. I will give her some credit this episode. She kind of shows some balls. She's like, if you want this, give me this. Like, she's negotiating with a supercomputer.
She's growing up a little bit.
Yeah. So the Sybil system reveals itself to Akane, and she is
Which we've been
freaked out.
naming off these episodes, but we've not once said what the Sybil system is.
What do you mean?
We've just been going through the episodes. We haven't actually said what it is.
Like the brains and stuff? Yeah, we went through it.
As we said, there was the Flash. Nobody ever saw really what it was.
Yeah, later on I explained what
Did
it was.
you?
Yeah. That was last week's episode.
Brain's not working. I'm sorry.
You want to explain what it is? Because that is last week's episode.
It's brains. Just cut all that out.
So basically what the Sybil system is that it's the brains, just like Makishima, who is kind of like crime coefficient, like they can't judge him the way they judge everybody else. They take those brains and use them. I think that they have to have a minimum of 200 brains operating at one time, which I think they're up to close to 300 mark for that supercomputer. But as long as they have right about 200, the Sybil system can operate. But they use those types of brains to dictate everything that they tell people to do.
Sorry.
It's the last episode. You got it. Makishima finds the professor who is responsible for the hyper oats and murders him, because that's what you do if you're Makishima. So after finding the information that he needs, he takes this man's fingers and eyeballs as a measure against biometric security. Kogami arrives on the scene not long after and leaves a clue for the MWSPB in the man's air pipe. You want to explain what Akane does to find the clue that was left behind? She like straight up puts her fist into this man's throat to get it out.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm sorry. My hue's all clouded.
Yeah. So he left the clue in this man's air pipe. So she cuts this dude's throat open and then grabs the memory chip out. So Akane contacts the Sybil system and convinces it to withdraw the execution order for Kogami if she captures Makishima alive. And basically they agree. Like, they kind of debate around a bit, but like ultimately they do agree on this. So thanks to her detective work, they quickly find Kogami's clue and learn about the situation. Makishima finally reaches his destination with Kogami right on his trail. And that's kind of where we end this episode off. And this is where we end this episode of Anime Autopsy. Any closing thoughts? What do you think is going to happen in the last 2 episodes?
It's gonna be an epic fight scene.
Yeah. Well, I've already watched them, and I assure you, they are epic. It totally made me want to go ahead and start season 2, for sure. Housekeeping notes, subscribe to the YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, click that bell for all the live streams and clips. For all news updates, follow me on Twitter or join the Facebook group. Take a second to leave a 5-star review on Spotify or whatever platform you're using. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. All of these links will be in the Linktree link in the bio to get you to where you want to be. Additionally, you can send us a voicemail or an email. Info in the bio also. For all of your art inquiries, reach out to Blue Room Media. Ask for Brandon. Tell him we sent you, and we'll see you next week.